welcome to the Plumbing and HVAC Marketing Ninjas podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Arthur, and today we have the honor of getting to chat with the one and only Keith McKay with Calverley Service Experts. How you doing today, Keith?
I'm great, Nathan. How are you, man?
Very good. Just kind of wanted to kick it off. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the HVAC industry.
Sure. No, not a problem at all. I was born and raised here in North Texas, and in the early 90s, I had been laid off from a job that I had with a rental car company, and a neighbor of ours worked for a refrigeration company in Dallas, and he said, "Hey, man, we're hiring." So in 1993, I went to work for them in their parts department, and I had several menial jobs there. I worked in the parts department for a while, then I actually was in the dispatch office for a while. But anyway, they came to me one day and said, "You're kind of mechanical. Would you, be interested in learning this trade?" And I was like, "Sure." So I worked in. They had a refurb shop there where they refurbished ice makers and walk-in coolers and reach-in coolers, things such as that. So I took that job. I did that for a couple of years, and then that led me into running an install truck for them. So I did that in the refrigeration business until 2000, and then in 2000 I got actually into the HVAC side of the business. That's when I went to work for Bon Air Service Company in Grand Prairie. Really cut my teeth there. That's when I was able to go to air conditioning school and get my certificates and things such as that. So I installed and ran a little service for them until 2007. And in 2007, I was fortunate to be offered a position here at Service Experts in Fort Worth as a full-time residential service person. Did that for a couple of years, and then started crossing over into the commercial side of the business. And then in 2009, they kind of came to me and said, "Hey, we think that you have a knack for this commercial business, and we really want to try to grow this thing. So would you be interested in running the commercial department for us here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've never really done anything like that, but sure." So started with very little knowledge, very little. I mean, it was just kind of like obviously had a lot of knowledge of the business, but as far as like the way to run a commercial service department and install department, I was very lacking in that. Luckily, I had a couple of guys around me that were really good at what they did. So I've been doing kind of what I do now since 2009. I do hold the contractor's license for our branch, so that's a little added responsibility, I guess you could say, on me. But I really enjoy what I do. I get to help people and meet a lot of people. It's a fun job.
Nice. So from what I understand about Service Experts, they're just a tiny company, right?
No, actually, Service Experts, it's the way Service Experts was put together is years ago. There was just a couple of, it was a small company, just a couple small branches, and what happened was Lennox Industries invested in Service Experts, and their idea was to grow it into a large corporation. So what they basically did was went around and purchased a bunch of mid to maybe large market companies. They pretty much left the companies alone to let them run as independent companies, but they invested in them, rolled them into the Service Experts brand, and so that's how Service Experts got to be one of the largest residential service company in the country, and now coming on one of the largest service companies in general, commercial and residential, in the entire country. I think we have a little over 100 branches in the United States and a few in Canada. So, it kind of took off. And I mean, what I really like about the way it's put together, though, is even though we are part of a large conglomerate, obviously, each one of our branches operate kind of independent of each other. So It feels like that small company feel, but then you have the resources of a large company behind you. So it's pretty neat model that they put together here, for sure.
How long ago did they open up shop?
Well, Calverley, which is the branch that I work at, was opened as a private company in 1980 by a man named Rick Calverley, ironic enough. He owned it as a private entity until 1999. And in 1999 is when it was purchased by Service Experts. The original Service Experts, which is an office that's in Plano, opened, I believe they opened in 1985, I believe is when that original Service Experts opened. But like I say, it really took off in 98, 97, 98 when Lennox bought it. And from that point, for the next 5 years, the company basically like quadrupled in size. So
Nice.
that's really when Service Experts took off. Yeah.
Awesome. So besides HVAC, what else do they do?
We do out of our office in Fort Worth. I mean, like I say, each independent office operates differently, but out of our office in Fort Worth, we offer commercial and residential air conditioning, and that includes service, maintenance, replacement, warranty work, repair, anything that you have on the HVAC side. We also offer we have a plumbing department where we offer, light plumbing repairs. Our plumbers do a lot of, small repairs. I wouldn't say that we're like a industrial style plumbing department. Our guys mainly are there. What they do a lot of is water heaters on our Advantage plan is really their main forte, but they do some repair work and things like that. We also do insulation work. We offer loose fill, what we call loose fill insulation. It's a fire retardant loose fill product that's blown into the attic over the existing insulation. Most of the time, I mean, there are a few occasions where we go in there and remove the insulation and blow new in, but really that's not usually the case. Usually it's an addition to. So we just do that to help homeowners bring their insulation back up to the standard that it should be, and it's pretty cost effective. And obviously, we also take care of like air purification, indoor air quality, whatever you want to call it. Things like upgraded air filtration, UV technology, and I-wave technology, things such as that. We do a lot of that stuff as well.
Nice. Yeah, that extra blown in insulation makes a big difference in Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I get the question all the time, hey, how much insulation is it, or how much should I have? And I'm like, well, in a perfect world, if you filled that thing from the rafters all the way up to the roof line, that would be, but obviously that's not doable. But, they have a standard that they want us to meet. R36 is kind of like the standard right now that they want everybody to have. That's really the minimum standard. But listen, if you can get an extra 6 to 12 inches in your attic, you can afford to do that. It's definitely not going to hurt anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously I'll prefer Lennox on the HVAC side. What brands do y'all work with on the plumbing side?
A lot of our plumbing stuff, they use A.O. Smith. As far as like the tankless units, they use Rinnai tankless, and then some Delta, fixtures and things like that. So they're pretty much like most of the other plumbers. They stick with the regular brands. And then on the insulation piece, we buy from a company in Houston called Applegate Insulation. They're kind of like they're a manufacturer. We buy directly from them, and they've become pretty well known for a high quality cellulose based product. It's an inexpensive product that's flame retardant and also guards against disintegration. So it doesn't. It obviously everything disintegrates over time, but it's slow to settle and disintegrate. So it's a good product. So that's what we use on the insulation portion. And then Lennox is our main line for air conditioning and heating. Obviously, we can sell and service any brand, but we prefer the Lennox branded products. Or we've had the best success with them. We feel like they have the best products with the best warranties and things like that. So,
yeah.
Awesome.
So obviously Service Experts have kind of stood the test of time. What do you think that sets y'all apart from the competition?
Well, I mean, I think there's a couple of things. I think first and foremost, we offer something that not many people in our industry offer to our customers. And what that is it's just a money back guarantee. And basically what we tell all of our customers, commercial and residential, is, we'll do whatever we have to do to make it right with you. I mean, if we put a system in, or if we do a repair and you're just flat not happy with what we did, I mean, whatever we need to do to make it right with you, if we need to rip that system out and put a new one in or whatever, I mean, we literally will do whatever it takes to get, but at the end of the day, if there's somebody that we just cannot come to terms with, we cannot make happy, then we have no problem with giving your entire, all of your money back and letting you go find someone else that might better suit your needs. But so that's one of the things that I think really makes us stand out. I don't know very many other companies, and I've been in this business obviously quite a while.
Yeah.
Very many companies that would do that. As a matter of fact, I think the industry standard, especially in the North Texas area, and one of the things that gives kind of our industry kind of a not really a black eye, but people don't like about the way a lot of people do things is that, some companies they'll put a unit in, and once they collect their money, they're kind of out of the picture. And if you have problems, then it's like pulling teeth to get them back over there to work on stuff. And so we don't want to be that way. We want to be transparent. We want to be connected to our work. So if we do something, and like I say all the time, Nathan, I've told you this before, never would claim to be perfect. There's no company that is. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Everybody's going to have guys that have a bad day, things such as that. But what we want to do is be the people that, regardless of what goes wrong, we're going to make it right, no matter what it takes. In the customer's eyes, we're going to make it right by them. So I think that's a big thing for us. And then the one thing that we offer, residential and commercial property managers that manage residential properties, is a product called the Advantage Plan. It's really new to our industry, and Service Experts is the only company in the country that actually is offering it right now. But basically, it's an all-inclusive way to install new equipment in your home or in your rental properties. You don't actually buy the equipment. There's no money down up front, and basically you make a monthly usage payment like you do on a cell phone.
Yeah.
That includes your maintenance, your service. I mean, all the way down to if the unit has to be replaced. It really is you make the monthly payment and you never worry about anything else. The reason that's so important, I think, for property managers is because once the agreement's put in place on your rental properties, you never have to be bothered with us again. We make it to where your tenants can call us directly. Since there's no money to be changing hands, you're making the monthly usage payment. The tenant can call us direct. We go out and fix it, do whatever it takes to get it back online, and you never even have to know about it. So I think a lot of property managers, especially when they get into multiple properties where they're managing a large portfolio, it becomes a real issue for them to try to keep up with all the facilities, and this product kind of takes that off of them a little bit. So it's a really unique product. There's a lot more to it than that. I could talk about it for an hour, but basically that is the one product. HVAC in North Texas is kind of a necessity, and so a lot of us companies, as far as like the way we install units and the way we sell it, we're all a lot alike. So there's got to be that one thing you do to make you stand out a little bit, and I think for Service Experts, that's our golden ticket there.
Nice. Yeah, it's helpful for homeowners as well, because I mean there's a lot of people that they don't have 8, 10, 12 grand, however much the system's going to cost in a one-time chunk. So to be able to offer something like that is huge. And did you already touch on the maintenance part
of the Advantage, or just in general?
In general.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously one more thing I'll say about that Advantage. I've had several people or not compare it, but ask me, what's the difference between that and my factory warranty? One thing that people should understand about a factory warranty, unless you pay money, a significant amount of money when you purchase the unit to buy up additional warranty time, the standard warranty on an air conditioning system is usually, if it's gas fired, they might give you 20 years on your gas heat exchanger, mainly because here in Texas, we don't use them very much. Some of them will give you 10, some of them will give you 5 on the compressor. Now, this is just parts warranties we're talking about, right? So, and every other part on it usually has a 1-year warranty. That's it. Now, here's the caveat, though. The scary part is labor-wise, there is no warranty. The factory doesn't pay labor. So if you have a company that installs a unit, like we offer a 1-year labor warranty if we install it. But what I'm saying is if you have a 3-year-old unit that has a compressor that goes bad due to a factory defect, well, the factory is going to buy the compressor. They will give you the compressor. But the problem is when you get talking about materials, labor, handling fees, things like that, you're still going to be out a couple $1,000s to get a brand new unit fixed. So that's what this program kind of guards against. I mean, like I say, you make that flat monthly fee, and it doesn't matter if that thing. The only thing it doesn't cover is the act of God, which is what your homeowner's insurance is
Right.
for.
Yeah.
But anything that happens to that unit, you're not out a single penny more than what you pay your monthly fee. That's it. So it's a far cry from just a basic factory warranty on those things. Warranties are really not very good on them, and I'll be honest. I mean, it's the factory warranty is on air conditioning systems, commercial or residential. They're just not very good. So that's but anyway, what did you asked me about
the maintenance.
So yeah. So basically what I found in the commercial side of the business, and this is not necessarily true in residential, but the commercial side of the business is maintenance is something that really gets overlooked a lot. And nowadays, with so many people leasing space, commercial space, very few people, if you ask them, know what the fine print says to them about air conditioning and plumbing on their rental property. And basically, I can tell you that most of the time they'll put in there, unbeknownst to the leasee, a leaseor, a person signing the lease, that you're responsible for it. Oops. So what they do is, if you don't do your maintenance and get the thing cleaned and tuned and things like that, on a regular basis, if it breaks down, they can come back to you and say, well, you didn't do your maintenance. Now you get to buy an air conditioner. So that's one of the reasons it's real important. So our maintenance program is pretty thorough. I think we have a pretty outstanding record when it comes to maintenance. I mean, we do maintenance for a lot of big companies, and we have a checklist that we follow. I'll try to be as upfront with people as I can. This is exactly what we do on a regular maintenance, but it's really important to do that. Here in North Texas, one of the biggest problems that we have with air conditioners are dirty outdoor coils. And 90% of the time, I would say it's due to cottonwood seed. We just have a lot of cottonwood trees here, right? So cottonwood trees will kill an air conditioner. So if you don't have someone coming and cleaning that periodically, it really can shorten the life of that air conditioner and cost you a lot of money in repair replacement prematurely. That's one of the many things that we deal with. But that and the just crazy weather temperature swings that we have here. I mean, so many times we'll run the heater in the morning, the air conditioner in the afternoon, and it's just hard on the units. Yeah, especially if you're not maintaining them. I mean, when you have somebody come look at them every 6 months, open them up, clean them up, check everything, tighten all the electrical connections. I mean, it can significantly lower your power bills and extend the life of the unit, significantly, not just I might get an extra year out of it. I mean, a lot of units, they double their life expectancy just because they've had regular maintenance from the day of install. And keeping them clean and tuned is real important. It's real important.
And it's a win-win for everybody because, it helps make the units last longer, but it also gives the HVAC companies more revenue coming in too. So everybody wins.
Right. Yeah. One of the main reasons we have a hard time sometimes keeping technicians is because, obviously here in Texas, especially residentially, but really even commercially, it's a real cyclical business because, man, when it gets hot outside, everybody wants their air conditioner fixed. And then, we go through times of year like we're going through right now where if the air conditioner breaks, people are not that concerned about it. And the heaters, we really haven't started using yet. So, but this time of year is when we're really, really heavy in our maintenance, right? So right now, instead of sending our technicians home or laying people off or doing that like some of the other companies around here do, we have a big group of maintenances that have to be taken care of. So right now, that's what our technicians are mainly doing. But every single one of our technicians are drawing at least 40 hours a week because we have the maintenances that need to be completed before it gets real cold outside. So yeah, so it is a win-win for everybody, I think.
Nice. So kind of shifting from that into company culture. So I've talked with several different business owners and
Mhm.
culture, for some people it's important to talk about. Some people, they don't think about it.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts when it comes to company culture?
Well, personally, I think it's important. I would say culture wise, just to keep a positive vibe. So I think the worst thing can happen to a company is to have what I would call like a bad apple, or somebody in the company that's just stirring stuff and not because listen, guys in the service industry, we're already kind of a beaten down group. I mean, honestly, guys that are in the service business, we just, a lot of people take service guys for granted. They don't get the respect that somebody in a different type of job would do. But at the end of the day, if you really stop and look at the way these companies are built, and servicemen are who make the wheels turn. Really, without the serviceman, nothing would happen. We wouldn't install anything. We wouldn't sell anything to install. We wouldn't
Yeah.
have any repairs to sell. So really the serviceman is who makes this industry go. And it's just, I don't know, it was this way before I came along, but it's always been kind of looked down upon, like blue collar guys, like, service guys, just a service guy. But so I think it's important, especially in the service industry, that you keep a positive vibe and always try to, I've always tried to ensure my guys that I appreciate what they do. Try to take them to lunch every once in a while, or get them donuts or just something to
Yeah.
show, hey, that I'm thinking about you guys and what you do for me. And so I honestly think that your company can be more successful if you just take the time to do things like that. Feed them lunch.
Yeah.
I've got another buddy that runs an air conditioning business here local that worked for us for a long time, and he, every like once a month, he just throws a big cookout down and gets all of his guys to come and eat lunch. And we try to do that same type of thing, and it just really is it's just lunch, right? And it's kind of trivial, but really to guys like me that are in the service business, it means a lot for somebody to take the time to do things like that. So I think maintaining a positive and kind of a supportive culture is really important, especially in today's age, because listen, it's hard to find technicians as it is, right? So
Oh
if you
yeah.
can keep them and keep them happy, you're one up on the game. Yep.
It's amazing how far food can go, at least for people like me that like
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's especially if it's something you really enjoy.
Yeah.
You smell it, you see it, you're like, oh man, it just puts you in a
Yeah.
different mood,
Right.
It's
Yeah. It's that's true. And I go back to all the years that I was in the field, and I can tell you that out of all those years I was in the field, very, very few times was I able to stop down, eat a good, nice, solid lunch, take a little break, drink some tea, and then go back to work. No. Usually in the field, you're grab a burger or grab a sandwich out of your lunch pail, huff it down real quick between, you know, things that you have to get done. So for those guys to be able to stop down, come in, eat lunch, grab something cold to drink, and sit and fraternize for a little bit. They really like that, and it really is. It's good. It's good for the psyche. I think it helps with the overall demeanor of the guys that are out there, putting in the blood and sweat and tears. So,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's really important, man, to stroke that culture and to try to perpetuate, positivity and support for the
Yeah.
guys that sometimes don't feel like they're getting very much support. So it's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So what's some advice you would give to other HVAC and plumbing companies that might be listening to this podcast?
Well, I think one of the main things, other than obviously what we've touched on as far as like supporting your employees, I think that it's real important to never stop learning in this business. So, HVAC and plumbing, just like any other service business, is an ever-changing field. So, what we try to concentrate on doing, what I like to concentrate on doing, is making sure that my guys are trained on the latest and greatest technology. There's people don't understand, unless you've been on the inside of these HVAC and plumbing companies, how much technology is really involved in what we do, and how much that has increased significantly over the last 8 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Air conditioners now are basically have onboard computers. Most all the new units They literally are computerized, and so that's a far cry from the old electromechanical stuff that I worked on when I first came into this industry. So it's I think the reason that a lot of companies and a lot of people fail in this business is that they get to a point where they think, I know everything I need to know. I don't want to learn anything else. And what happens is, just like in most any other industry, it passes you by.
Yeah.
And what you do is you find yourself not able to compete with other companies because you're not in the know when it comes to like the newest technologies, whether it be communicating systems, new thermostats, new refrigerant, new whatever. So to me, one of the main things I would tell somebody that was kind of fresh, new, had a new company is, take care of your people, take care of yourself, and then never ever stop learning. Never get satisfied with where you are as far as the knowledge of this business. And then, like, if you're in a position like me, I mean, obviously I don't go out and work on units anymore, but I still try to make sure that I'm always learning how to market my business, learning how to, how to close sales better, how to network better. So, there's always something, even the big boss. I mean, even the general manager of our operation here in Fort Worth, there's always something. I mean, he'll tell you too. He learns something new every single day. So I think just keeping your mind open to new stuff and always trying to better yourself, I think would be the number one thing I would tell somebody in that position for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how far things have come. I mean, I remember as a kid, I was told not to mess with a thermostat, but you just can't help yourself. So I
Right.
remember taking the plate off, the little plastic thing, and I saw it looked like a spring, in there. I'm like, compared to today, you basically got an iPad on your wall to change the thermostat. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Those the trolls have just like you say, back when I was in the refrigeration business, we used a lot of what they call snap action. It was kind of like a little metal rod that, as the temperature changed, it bent, and that literally was what.
Yeah.
And then of course, when I got in the air conditioning business, most of the old thermostats were mercury bulb technology, and you depended on that little bead of mercury so to think that like you said, to think that we've come from that to fully digital, completely communicating. I mean, these thermostats, that they don't even have to be wired to the units hardly anymore. It's insane to think of how far the technology and the controls side of the business has come just in the last 10 or 15 years. It's completely changed, and that's and so it's that it makes it really important to keep your guys up to date on what's going on, because you can get lost pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of segueing into employees, right? So I've been hearing nonstop the last probably 8 months, talking to different plumbing HVAC companies, that they're having a hard time not only finding good people to work for them, but also keep people.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? What have y'all been seeing over there?
Yeah, no, it's becoming a really big problem. I think I've tried to put, a lot of times I think about this quite a bit, and I've tried to put a finger on exactly what happened and why we're in the position that we're in. I think one of the biggest things, Nathan, is that for years and years, starting really with the generation probably after mine, it was pounded in kids' heads that you have to go to college, you have to get a degree, you have to get a sales job, making in the white collar bit. So basically, I think part of this we created ourselves by trying to push kids away from the service industries and more into technology and things like that, which we need those people, right? But the problem is that the culture started to shift again. But for a while there, blue collar, service type positions were kind of looked down upon, like we've talked about before, and so people were not interested in doing that. So it is a problem, and the main problem in the HVAC industry is that I think the other day I read, I think it's 65% of all the active technicians in the United States in the air conditioning heating business are over 55 years old. 65%. So if you think about that, what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years? When those guys retire, listen, we think we have a problem now, but when guys my age and a little older than me start getting ready to retire, what's going to happen to our business? I mean, it's really scary to think because, these things don't fix themselves. And no matter how advanced they get in the controls and all that, there's always going to be the need for someone to repair them.
Yeah.
So it's really scary thought for me to think of what's going to happen if we don't change the way we're doing things right now. I think that it's really important for us to start teaching air conditioning and plumbing and electricity in high school, like vocational programs again. I think that it's real important that we put as much put as much emphasis on trade schools and things like that as we do universities, because listen, everybody, university's not for everybody. I'm living proof of that. I was a great student in high school, but college and I just didn't get along that great.
Yeah. Trade
school I loved though, because it was an applied thing. I loved learning about air conditioning and electricity, and it just sucked me in, but so I think we can right the ship. It's just right now we're in a predicament because there's not that many good technicians to go around, and everybody wants them. So when you get a good technician, in order to be able to keep them, you're going to end up doling out big bucks to keep them, and you're going to end up having to go the extra mile as far as benefits and extras, things like that, because there's companies out there that are trying to snipe your people. Everybody wants a good technician. So when you've got, when you've got a few good technicians in your company, it's inevitable. People hear about it. They're like, oh, I heard Calverley down the road has, several really good technicians. What would it cost for me to lure one of those guys away? So it's a big problem. It really is.
I'm not going to say we're guilty of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that way in every industry, but the problem with the service industries, plumbing and air conditioning and electricity right now, is that there's not any, like in the past, I would even say back when I was probably fresh in this industry, if I would have decided I don't want to work for you anymore, I'll go somewhere else. Well, there was somebody else standing in line right behind me that was just as qualified as me. The problem now is whenever you lose a seasoned technician, you're basically backfilling them with somebody that's fresh out of trade school or doesn't have any in. Now you're retraining, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not keeping up. Whenever we lose a seasoned technician, whether it be to a different company or retirement or promotion of whatever, it is a significant hit to the way we do business as a service department. It takes time, a lot of time and effort to get back to where we were before that change was made. So it's just not like it used to be. There's not people standing in line waiting for these kind of jobs right now.
What's sad but also funny at the same time is, so like growing up, I remember as I was getting a little bit older in high school, you're supposed to be starting to think about what you're going to be doing. Mm-hmm. And like the things that would come up was like, doctor, attorney, and things like that.
Right.
And then, the problem is those things are great, but why isn't plumbing and HVAC, why isn't that thrown in the mix of things to be thinking about? Right. It's like, there's this like skit on Facebook that I've seen going around, and it's a service company owner that's, kind of in the trenches in what he's doing. So getting all dirty and things like that. And this lady walks by with her son and is like, what is that guy doing? Why couldn't he aspire to more? And this guy's making way more money than she is,
Right.
And so the funny thing is, the sad thing is that, we're not teaching our kids, hey, if you want to be a plumber or, an HVAC company owner or technician or whatever, installer, get into that industry instead of kind of getting their wheels turning. Hey, I could be in the trades, we're turning them away from that. But the funny thing is they could make a lot more money than most people out there.
Absolutely.
Starting their own business, getting into, some of the labor stuff. So we just got to do a better job of teaching our kids and letting them know the options, because being in the trades isn't a bad thing at all. There's so
no.
much money to go around. It's insane. So
Right. And especially in our market, I mean, in North Texas, there's always going to be a call for heating and air conditioning and plumbing and electricians and things like that. I mean, and we're building so many houses and businesses right now. It's just gonna, we're just gonna be always going to be in need. And I think that's real funny that you bring that up about you know, the way people view service guys. I would venture to say that there are a lot of homeowners and business owners that probably look down their nose at these technicians when they come, just because of they're dirty. I mean, they sweat, they hurt. But I would be willing to guarantee you that these guys make a lot more money than you think they do.
yeah,
Most all of them do.
yeah,
Most all of them make a lot more money than the customers they're working for. They just, you know what I'm saying? They earn it. I mean, they work those, 70-hour weeks during the summer. I mean, it's not an easy business, but you can definitely do very well for yourself. I mean, I've been blessed to have a very good career in a job that a lot of people probably wouldn't have wanted. But like you say, it's I think that people are in the dark as to how much money a good serviceman can actually draw. I mean, they make a lot of money these days.
Yeah.
That's the reason. I mean, everything's expensive, and paying a serviceman is no different. It's
and kind of going back to the culture, like if you've got a good employee and you can see they're really busting their butt for you, well, why not reward them and incentivize them and they want to stay. The work's hard. Some days are just torture, especially if you're up in an attic in July. Here anyway.
Been there, unfortunately.
So
lots of times.
If they're incentivized, that could be part of it too, along with the culture stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that you have to be careful. Some companies like put their servicemen on like 100% commission type work, and I don't really necessarily agree with that, only because it perpetuates people changing parts and doing things that really weren't necessary. So with our guys, we do offer some incentives for them, certain things that they do. Obviously, equipment sales is a big part of our business, but they get paid an hourly rate, and really that's their main source of income. And then they'll get it. We do incentivize those guys, and they enjoy that, and I think it helps keep them happy, and obviously it helps with their pocketbooks a little bit. Yeah. But I'm with you on that, though. I think that just throwing them a bone every once in a while for excelling at their job is something, and I think we've done a pretty good job. Not just service experts. I think most of the guys that I know that run companies around Dallas-Fort Worth do a pretty decent job of making it worth these guys' time to go the extra mile for the customer. Yeah. Really, I think it all trickles back to taking care of the customer. So if you got a guy that's willing to do some extra things to take care of your customer, I think it makes sense to take care of him a little bit more. So
yeah,
that's good stuff. Yeah.
So besides the issues that we're seeing with trying to find good people and keep good people, what are some other issues that you've seen that's going on in the plumbing and HVAC industries right now? Yeah,
I mean, one of the biggest things that's going on right now because of the COVID, the pandemic, it's become really, 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 really hard to get a hold of certain parts, get a hold of certain equipment, even refrigerant. I mean, there's just been a lot of distribution issues and just stock issues in general. I mean, parts that used to take, we could run to Dallas in 30 minutes and pick up. Now we're having to wait, a week or two sometimes. So I think one of the main struggles with our company, our industry right now, especially in North Texas, is just that, people are used to having things done fairly quickly. And so I think because of the shortage and the distribution issues, now the prices are starting to creep up too. So people are like, "Wait, why? How come I had this system done 2 years ago and it was this much and now it's this much?" Well, I mean, everything's gone sky high. I mean, the equipment, we've taken several price increases over the last year, which used to be unheard of. I mean, we would maybe take a couple of percent every year or two, and now we're regularly getting price increases. So I think that's one of the main struggles right now is that we're just not able to produce the stuff, the equipment, parts, and things like that in as timely a manner as we're used to. And it irritates people sometimes. We're doing the best we can, but it just and so I think that's one of the main things. And obviously, like we talked about, just not having the people to do the work. I mean, we have good intentions and we want to take care of everybody, but um, there was a time not many years ago when we would never max out our residential service department on a summer day. We could take care of literally every call that came in. We could take care of them, and that's just not the case now. We usually our daily service board. There's times when by 9 a.m. it's completely booked through the end of our evening.
Wow.
And so we're punting people off for a day or two, and that's not anything we're used to. So, but the combination of lack of manpower and the fact that because of the pandemic, a lot more people are staying home these days.
Yeah.
It's just the perfect storm, and it's difficult. It's hard. It's real stressful for the dispatchers and people that are responsible for running that service department. It's a hard job, a lot more distressful job nowadays than it used to be, because they just flat can't get everybody taken care of, and it's just a physical impossibility.
Yeah. Are you, from what y'all are seeing on the calls that y'all are running, are the customers somewhat understanding, or are they just flat out mad when the parts are going to be forever?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it depends on the customer in general. I think the most of our customers have been real understanding. I mean, one thing that we try to do is set a good precedent, or set a good mood in place. So when our guys show up at people's house, they're gloved, they're masked, they're social distance. We try to make the customer feel as safe as possible, and we want to let them know that we care about them. And so whenever something goes wrong, and we have to tell them, hey, I know it's hot here, but it's going to be 3 days before we can get the fan motor, whatever it is. I think they understand that we're doing our best to take care of them. It's just, we can't, there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah. And I mean, obviously every once in a while you're going to get somebody that's just mad, and they're going to be mad no matter what. But most of the time, most of my customers that I've talked to have been very understanding through it, and they understand, because a lot of them are going through the same thing, whether they be in the food business or whatever business they're in. They're just same thing that we're going through. You can't get what you need. So for the most part, I would say that people have been pretty understanding of it all. Yeah.
I think that's where customer service training really comes into play, because there's a way to get the exact same message across. Like, mm-hmm. If you say, well, it's out of my hands, sorry, versus, I'm right there with you. It's not anything that we have control over, and I'm sorry it's happening to you, It's right. The same message, but how it's conveyed,
Right.
It's amazing. I dealt with that just last week with a company. I understand if it's out of your hands, mm-hmm. but there's a way to say it, and there's a tone on how to say it,
Right.
If you just flat out don't care, it's out of my hands.
Right.
Do you expect
right. Right. I think people are looking for someone that's willing to make an effort to do it as quickly as possible. Now, people understand there's things we just can't help, but I'm with you on that. I think if you have that laissez-faire, like, I can't do anything about it, it's going to be a week, and people will be like, well, I'm gonna call somebody else, see if they, But if you come and tell them, we're doing the very best we can, and they're telling me that the quickest I'll have that part is a week, and I'm so sorry about that. If there's anything I can do to make it better, or if it comes in quicker, I'll definitely let you know. A lot of it is the tone and the way that you approach, problems like that. We can't do anything about the problems we're going through as a country right now, and getting, but we can try to let people know that we care about them, and we're struggling with them, right? So It's not like you say. It's not like, well, screw you, buddy, it's your problem. I mean, literally, it's like, we're in here with you, and then as fast as we can get you taken care of, we're going to do it. So, yeah.
It's amazing how much just your tone and your attitude can affect your revenue for the company.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't want to, for some reason, don't want to do business with somebody that's a jerk to them. Huh?
Right.
It's very true.
Who
It's
knew?
very true. Yeah, yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
on that note, what's something that you're seeing in the HVAC and plumbing industries that people should either start doing or stop doing right now?
One thing that companies should stop doing is only hiring seasoned help. The reason I say that is because so many companies now, they'll put out a feeler for a new technician, whether it be a plumber, air conditioner, electrician, and they'll always put in there, but the caveat is they need you to have 2 years of experience, 5 years of experience. Well, what happens is we've got these new apprentices that are fresh out of school or just fresh into the business, and they get frustrated because nobody will hire them.
Yeah.
So I think companies, although it is so difficult sometimes to train people, especially in like the busy part of the year, but I think people need to start, if we're ever going to get the base of technicians built back up, everybody's got to have a part in that. So companies that say I'll only hire a guy with 5 years experience, I think you're damaging our business. I mean, because we need those younger guys. And quite honestly, I would rather train them myself than have them go through, an air conditioning school and come, because 9 times out of 10, when they come from a trade school, I mean, they know the basics, right? But
Yeah.
you don't really start learning this business until you're out there in the field. So I think if I could say one thing that needs to change is that as far as, recruiting and getting employees in the mix, is we gotta back off of that, only hiring, seasoned employees, because there's so many guys that we've actually had an influx lately of guys that want to get in this business, but they get frustrated because they can't find anybody to hire them. And so we've done that. And man, listen, we've gotten a couple really good employees by taking the chance on somebody that had no experience, but they have a drive, they have a mechanical expertise to them, and we can take that and train them up and make them really good technicians. Something that people in our industry should start doing, I think, is recognizing that, this is a saturated market, and there's thousands of air conditioning companies in Dallas Fort Worth, and there's a lot of business to go around. I mean, there's tons of businesses. There's tons of. The one thing that I hate is to hear one company bashing another company or bad mouthing them. There are definitely companies in our industry out there that I don't agree with the way they do business, but I make it a point to never badmouth or bash anybody in my industry. And this is why, because people we've talked about it already just on this podcast, people already have a negative mindset, a negative connotation of what a service company does. And, they're out to get us, and they're out to get our money. So I think when you go out and have bad juju against another company, that just further perpetuates that, there's bad people in our industry. So I try to stay away from that. And I wish that other people would. There's no problem at all with healthy competition, but I think that you cross the line when you actually start attacking another company that's in your business. So that's the one thing that I think people should start doing is realizing that healthy competition is good, that there's plenty of business in this market to go around, and not be so negative towards competition.
Yeah. Competition's a good thing. And at the end of the day, we're all in business to help the community. So let's get along.
Yes, sir. I agree with 100%.
Is there anything in the HVAC and plumbing industry that surprised you lately?
The only thing that really surprised me lately is just
nothing surprises Keith McKay, but
well, the only thing that really has surprised me lately is just the price of everything, Nathan. I mean, I can't even explain to people why or how we got to where we're at. But listen, this equipment has gotten completely out of control, man. I mean, it's the prices have shot through the roof on some of this equipment. And part of it's like, supply demand type stuff, and some of it's, I think, raw material costs and things like that. But people are seeing we're getting a lot of sticker shock, man. People are like, how come it's double what it was 5 years ago? Well, that's a good question, but it is what it is. I mean, we're paying a lot more for the stuff, so obviously we have to charge more for it. So that's that. If I had to say that anything surprised me, that would be the biggest surprise, is just how much air conditioning heating costs these days.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So who's your mentor or industry role model, and why?
Yeah, I've got a bunch. Going back to the refrigeration days when I first got in this business, I'd have to say Larry Barnett. He was my neighbor that actually got me involved in this, and he's a good technician. He's a little bit older than me, but he kind of led me into the business and kind of showed me the way he did things, and which was aggressively and making sure you did a good job. And then Rick Beard, which was my service manager when I came to work here at Calverley, he very, very knowledgeable of our business, and he pretty much taught me how to run service and be successful and take care of my customers. And then Roger Witham and Brad Shearer, those were two of my managers here when I came to work at Calverley. Brad was general manager. Roger was the ops manager here, and they took a chance on me. I mean, I was just a regular old service guy, just doing my thing, and they're like, "We think he can do this job." And at first, I was like, but they saw something in me. I guess I didn't see myself, and here it is. 13 years later, and I'm still trucking along. So I would have to say that they, and then I would say the biggest influence on me in this business. He's no longer with us, but a gentleman named Calvin Brunderat. He owned Bon Air Service Company in Grand Prairie, and before that, he was the regional service manager for Lennox Industries. And man, listen, that guy, he probably forgotten more about air conditioning than I'll ever know.
Yeah.
He started air conditioning work in the Army. It's funny. He used to tell a story about he had a friend named Harmon Dobson that wanted him to invest in a company. He said, "If you'll give me $500, I can open my first store, and then we'll share the profits." And Calvin said, "Man, I'm going to the air conditioning business. I'm going to get rich." And Harmon said, "Well, are you sure you don't want to, I'm going to open a burger joint, only $500. And Calvin said, "I think I'll pass." And he said, "Hey, Harmon, by the way, what are you going to call that place?" And Harmon said, "I think I'm going to call it Whataburger." True story. Very true story about Calvin. He missed out on that one, but man, let me tell you, he made an impact through air conditioning and built quite a big network of not only for his own business, but of people that he trained and put on the right path. There's people all over Dallas Fort Worth that were influenced by Calvin. So I miss the old boy. He passed away a few years ago, but he was quite a guy. And it taught me a whole lot about this business, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how do you see the HVAC and plumbing industry shifting or changing over the next 10 years?
Well, I mean, technology is ever changing, and I think it's going to further and further grow. I mean, I can honestly see a time where, these units are diagnosed before the technician ever arrives. It's almost to that point now. I mean, these control boards and interfaces are able to tell the servicing agent, tell the customer when the servicing agent's going to come, and then a lot of times it tells the servicing agent, like, we think it's this, or this. It's crazy. I don't know how we've gotten to that point, but I think the technology is definitely gonna just continue to build, and that's probably one of the biggest things that I can see shifting over the next 10 years. And then obviously, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, and I really do believe that there's a paradigm shift in the way we view service people. I think that people are starting to realize that being in the service industry is not that bad a thing, especially when they look at the Forbes published the income report, and when they see that people like air conditioning technicians and plumbing technicians and electricians and things like that, they're like upper middle as far as the income classes in the country. I mean, we're not flipping burger type income. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're like, you can make a lot of money if you're a good serviceman is basically what it boils down to. And I think I can really see, I mean, I'm hoping for the sake of the industry, I hope, first of all, I hope I'm retired by the time we're having to have this conversation, but no, for the sake of our industry and the sake of us as a public, people in general, we got to have service people to take care of our stuff. So I'm hoping, and I feel like there's a shift that's taking place, and I think that in the next few years, I think we're going to see an uptick in the amount of people that are interested in being back, in the service business again.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be awesome, and I don't know how this would impact, the number of employees and things that you would need, but can you imagine getting a notification on your phone? Hey, capacitor may be going out soon, or hey, we think there might be a leak, freon leak in your system, or hey, the fan's not rotating quite as fast or how many rotations it normally does.
Right.
Might be an issue, like stuff like that. Just like in your car, you get a light that comes on and you go ahead and reads a code, things that are either about to go horribly wrong or that are starting down that path. I mean, I think it would be better for everybody involved. I don't know how that would
the technician. We're definitely headed that way. As a matter of fact, some of the upper end equipment that we install these days already has sensors for monitoring refrigerant leaks and amp draw on motors and things such as that. So they're already putting that kind of technology in place, and I really believe that it won't be far-fetched. Before long, you will see basically these onboard computers able to diagnose mechanical issues that go wrong with the units. And now whether they make that information accessible to the customer or whether it's just accessible to the serviceman, that probably will be dependent on the company themselves. But no, it's definitely coming soon. Yeah.
I just think it'd be awesome not to have any downtime, because everybody gets frustrated, at least here in Texas, when your air goes out in the middle of July. Like, it'd be nice to not have downtime. Just, hey, this issue is going to be happening soon. Schedule a technician to come out either in the wee hours of the morning or whatever before it's 105 degrees outside. Get the part swapped out or get the issue fixed real quick, and there's like hardly any downtime. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's this technology is nothing but good stuff. I mean, there are some of the guys that have been in the business a long time, and they talk bad about the technological advances that have been made. But to me, I'm all about the customer and comfort and making sure nobody goes without, like you said. So if anything that we can do to make it less likely that you experience an outage, to me is I'm all for it. So if there's a way to incorporate stuff like that sends you a message saying hey, Mr. Arthur's compressor is pulling high amps, or Mr. Arthur's Delta T is only 15 and it should be 20, whatever. Then that gives you a heads up instead of, like you say, having to wait until Nathan calls and says, man, it's hot as blazes. I need somebody over here like yesterday, and that's what we deal with. So, it's, I think where we're headed is awesome. It's just there's some resistance there, because I think people are afraid that they're going to be out of a job, which I don't think is true at all.
Right.
It's just going to be a different culture. It's different now than it was when I started. These guys that are technicians now, listen, if they had to work on this stuff in the mid 90s like I did, they would not know where to start, because there wasn't any control boards. Everything was electromechanical, man. I mean, this sent a 24-volt signal to this, which sent it to that, and the system, these guys don't even have to trace low voltage anymore like we used to, because everything's controlled by integrated circuit board that takes care of everything, right? So when you're not getting a signal somewhere, you just change the circuit board and it's all fixed again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Key. Well, that's all I have. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, man. I mean, I appreciate you letting me do this, and I think the more we can get out there to the people that our industry is a good industry to be in. That we get to help folks. That's the main thing I love about it.
Yeah.
Is that I hate that people have to go through times when it's hot in their business or home, but the fact that we're able to take care of folks and do something good for people, it's a really good feeling. So yeah, I just appreciate you giving me the platform to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate what you do, man. You're a good guy.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, the whole point is to add some value to the plumbing and HVAC industry, to the
Yeah.
business owners, technicians, whoever might be listening. So hopefully y'all enjoyed it. All right. Well, that's all I got. See y'all next time.
Thanks, Nathan.
No problem.